opposite direction, really. I don't know what's happened this week. I've absolutely no idea. It was Sunday, and then it was Sunday. It's like the whole week has gone by without me even noticing. It's just slipped by, really. Absolutely no idea. No idea what's happened this week at all. It's just slipped by like a funeral pall. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I've been. I can't remember one thing that I've done or seen. I would say this week, but I'm sort of thinking in my whole life, has anything happened? I don't think so. Hello, how are you? It has been a week, it's been a month, it's been a many a year, and I've absolutely no idea what has happened in the week, what has happened in the year. Nearly over, and what has happened? Nothing I can think about, nothing I can remember, nothing that is clear. Nothing's happened at all. Something, if anyone can remind me what's happened with my flat hair, that's what's happened. I don't know what's happened, but my guitar is more or less in tune. I'm sort of alright, thank you. I've had a headache for the last 3 or 4 days, but it seems to have disappeared. I had a great big poo and it seems to have disappeared. That's too much information, but that's more or less what I do. Talk about nonsense. Talk about poo. Ooh. It is not something you wish to know about, but I've sung it anyway, because that's what I do. It's been a week. I don't know what's happened this week. Absolutely no idea. Not the slightest clue. So I hope that you're feeling less tired. I've been feeling tired actually this week. To be honest, it feels like I've slept not a minute, but I must have slept a minute. It did. It shot past. It's just like things happened in the week. Things that I probably in my professional life, let's say, that aren't worth talking about. Things happened, but there's nothing significant happened, if you know what I mean. It's just been like, that's been a week. I know what I did think. I thought, I should probably do things, I should probably write things, I should probably do things and like I used to do, but nothing that I wrote has ever come to anything, and everything that I wrote has been waste of time. I started keeping a diary again, Philip, because I used to and I forgot for a while, but now I'm keeping it again because that feels like I'm doing something. In fact, I just wrote an entry just before I came on here. Usually I do it at the end of the day, maybe sometimes at the beginning of the day, but I did it just before this because I thought I haven't written anything and I need to write something, and I really need to write something to make my life seem significant, and it isn't really significant. I was watching Dickinson about Emily Dickinson, and she lived a life of quiet desperation, and I sort of am as well, but I haven't got the body of work to leave to posterity. You're popping in and out. Hello, how are you? Finally made it, yeah. But it's good to see you anyway. Very much like Emily Dickinson, I live a life of quiet desperation. But my writing's not really all of that. I've written some poems, I've written some novels, and nobody wants to read any of it. But I carry on. For some reason, carry on. I do. Anyway, I'm going to put this down. Anyway, I can't just make my whole life a song and dance, can I? See you. Oh, all right then. Bye-bye. Nice to see you. see you. To see you nice. Yes, 1 2 1 2 testing. Why did you want that? Okay, fair enough. I have done that. That is the request that was asked for. That is the thing that I did. I'm just gonna sort of adjust this. It's got a bit wonky. Nope, I can't make it go any. It's difficult to get the. I mean, I've got the background. Sort of the side. It feels like it looks like a flat wall, but actually it's the corner. So it's not sure what's going on then. Yeah. So my life, my week, it's just been a little bit mundane and unproductive. I thought on Friday I should get back to writing. I didn't do NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, in November, even though I meant to. I have done it in the past, and I've written things. But I was like, there's this one novel that I was very, very pleased about. But I was thinking about the themes, because there's a college professor that's having an affair with a student, which in itself is not acceptable, and probably wasn't, and it's sort of, the undercurrent is that wasn't acceptable. But it was more, like, when I went to college, there was a student having an affair with a lecturer, and everyone thought it was a bit weird at the time, and that's years ago. So this novel, it's got that in it, and it's got other things in it that probably are socially unacceptable now. So if I was going to publish it, I would have to set it in of a time. It's been hanging around for a while, but it's of its time. Like, I wrote it in the early 2000s, set earlier, and I tried to make it, update it, but it's like, I think it's better setting it way in the past, so I'd have to really rejig it. Is that a word? Rejig, yeah. Change it around and in order to make it more acceptable. And there's also things that I wrote that I'm like, oh, in the current climate, I'm not sure that will go down in the same way that I meant it when I wrote it. It's because society has changed, and upheaval has been had in also many ways, and things that I think might be insulting, that I didn't mean to be insulting, that I don't want to, might be inflammatory, that I didn't want. It's just like, what are you talking about? It's just like things that I've written that I'm like, I don't want to go there. I'm just going to leave that, because it seemed like a good idea at the time, so maybe not that one. So I'd have to start something all over again, because otherwise I've got 2 or 3, 4 or 5, I've got about 8 manuscripts that I never finished, really. And I really need to finish one of them, but it's a crisis of confidence, really. I'm thinking of them and going, yeah, but that, that's embarrassing. So it's like, I think that's the case, though. If you've written something, the people that are published have written things that, and at a later date, the things that they wrote might not be as acceptable as when they wrote them, and then they've got a world of like, well, that society has changed, and the things that I wrote are looking pretty old-fashioned and stupid now. Now, I'm not saying that I said anything that was bigoted, because I don't think that I am bigoted, but there's certain plot points and things that I wrote that just subtly were all right when I wrote them, and now I'm thinking maybe I was a bit embarrassed about that when I wrote it, but but nothing like racist or sexist or homophobic or anything. Just society has changed, if you know what I mean, in little subtle ways that I'm like, yeah. I mean, and it's like you have to condemn things now, things that you go, well, that's just acceptable now. It's like, I mean, when I was 16, if you went out with, I didn't go out with somebody older when I was 16, I'll put it that way, but if you were 16 and you went out with somebody that was like 20, you'd just go, yeah, that's fine. I didn't, but that was fine, and people did. Whereas if that happened now, you'd go, no, that's a bit suspect. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't, not that I've got, it's just things have changed in a lot of ways, and in good ways, maybe, because it was always a little bit creepy, but people put up with things that were creepy, if you know what I mean. And now they don't, which is good. But then I'm like, I've got this thing about a college professor that he was always, it's like, he's not the good guy in it. I'll say that for nothing. He's pretty creepy and stalky. The character's awful. But when I was writing him, I was thinking, is he even worse than I'm writing him. He's just there's another character that he's a friend of his that's like a semi-celebrity that he invites to the college to talk. Oh, hello, thank you very much, how are you? It's good day to you too. And it's just like everyone in it's horrible in this book in different ways, but there's also stuff that I was like, what, when I was writing it I was like, it's a bit weird, and I felt uncomfortable with it. Anyway, I don't know what to say about that. Anyway, so like a long story that should have been shorter that I'm telling now, it gives you some sort of indication of why the novels probably weren't working as well. It's like I've gone down a path of rubbish. It's like, what, that's, you've meandered off the point. Although you do need subplots in novels, don't you? Anyway, the point is, I didn't write anything this weekend and I meant to. So that's really the point of the story. It was a rubbish story, very much like the stories that I have wrote. That's an Anywise reference. I know that that's not the past of written. It is written, obviously. I have written things. The play what I wrote. Oh, what a coat of armour am I wearing now? I don't know, that was just something that rhymed with wrote, and I don't really know where I'm going with it. Yeah, anyway, that was just to meander off the point. Woo, I'm going in and out. This lighting, every time I bring something up, it's like, wow, the lighting's gone all completely wrong. Anyway, the point is, I haven't done anything with my entire life, and especially not with this week. And I'm feeling a little bit like, it's not that I don't have a body of work, but the body of work that has been shown to the public. So maybe I am. I've said this before. Maybe I'm Van Gogh, whatever you want to call him, or Emily Dickinson, in that nobody knows who I am while I'm alive, which is not so great, really. But then maybe nobody will know who I am when I'm dead, which is also not so great, really. But I did remember something. This week I was looking up, I was like, in an effort to make myself, I'm such a procrastinator. I'm natural born procrastinator. But I've done things and then I just sit, it's more of a sort of like, maybe I am Banksy. You don't know. I could be. Yes. Anyway, he was in the news lately because they ripped him off and put all loads of his pictures on bags and pieces of clothing, and then he told everyone to go to, because they didn't have permission to go to the place where they were displaying them, can't remember what it was, and take all their clothes. And they very quickly went, oh, well, we'll take them off the shelves then. That's not a good idea, which was not a good idea. This week, anyway, the point is, I looked up my name. I looked up myself. And I found out that I am on the BFI. I've got a page on the BFI with only one thing that I've been in, even though I've been in more than one thing. And I found that I'm on Apple TV. But the thing is, there's one thing that I'm in, a different thing from the BFI thing, on Apple TV, that is me. And there's a link to Apple, actually, iTunes to get it. And then there's the other Elise Harris. There are more than one Elise Harrises, but there's another Elise Harris on the same thing. She's the one that, I think her name is Elise Wims, and then she got married and changed her name to Elise Harris. So she's not even a genuine Elise Harris. She's just, she's married name Harris. Anyway, she's more famous than me in some ways. I think I've got more subscribers to her on YouTube, and it's not because they've subscribed to me by mistake, because I had them before and it's not really gone up. My subscriber base has stayed the same, pretty much the same. That's my mum sending a message. Pretty much the same for a very long time. So, and hers hasn't gone up that much really, because she was on MasterChef or something chef on she's genuine, yeah. She was on something. Anyway, it's got all her reality TV appearances and me, so it's got two of us. So Apple seems to think that it's one. We are one. And we're not one. We're two different people. We're definitely two different people. I mean, there's another Elise Harris that is the editor of, I think she was a deputy editor of Out magazine in New York. And I've got her as a Facebook friend because she contacted me once ages ago when I was a journalist too and said, oh, you're the person that's messing up my my listings on Google, because you keep coming up when people are looking me up. It's like, well, you keep coming up when people are looking me up. What's your point? We've got the same name. So I have had correspondence with her, but I've also get the correspondence from the architect who's called Elise Harris in Australia, because she signed up to some video service, and I get the updates from that. And I also get, there's a Catholic Herald person that's also called Elise Harris, so she's not me either. And also, there's somebody that's like a family list that I keep getting invited to picnics and everything in the Midwest in America. I'm not that person. I'm not the dog breeder, Elise Harris. Anyway, the point is, I'm not any of these people, but I have got these pages, and I looked myself up on the IMDb, and there is one thing that there's something called the First 3 Lives of Stuart Hornsey, which is not me, but everything else on my IMDb page is me. And on the side, I got very, very excited today because there's a user-generated list of people from Wales, and I was like, that's on my IMDb page. Has somebody put me on that list? Now, Anthony Hopkins was number 1. There's 536 people, I think, on this. Anthony Hopkins is number 1. I thought, am I on this list? So I got to page 2, 131, I think. Not that high, not that low. I was like, me! I'm higher than Hugh Edwards. I'm higher than Max Boyce. I'm higher than Weatherman Walking. I can't remember his name. He's he's a weatherman in Wales, and he's on all the time. He goes walking. Derek Brockway, that's him. Derek Brockway. I'm higher than Derek Brockway, and I'm higher. Get this, I'm higher than Shirley Bassey. I told my flatmate. He's like, is Shirley Bassey Welsh? It's like, I should. Yes, of course Shirley Bassey is Welsh. How did you not know Shirley Bassey is Welsh? He didn't know who Max Boyce was at all. Max Boyce is the blooming king of Wales. He was so famous in the 1970s for all sorts of things, because he wrote he's Oggy 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 Oi Oi Oi. He's most famous for that, and rugby chants and singing about the Pontypool front row, because they were on the Welsh team. The Pontypool boys were on the Welsh front row, and he sang about it, and everyone in Pontypool, where I am from, was so excited about that. And I'm higher than Max Boyce, only like 2-3 higher than Max Boyce. It's not actually a list of, it's not like ranking, to be honest. It's 536 people, and this person, and they spell celebrities wrong. They put an apostrophe S rather than a plural. But that's not the point. They were thinking of people that were Welsh, and in that, I'm assuming they were typing, and they were like, that person and that person, and in the list of people, they stopped at, I don't know why they stopped at 536, there's loads of people that are Welsh that aren't on it, but they put me there. At that point, they're like, there, you. So I got put on it, and I don't think there's a biography on IMDb saying that I'm Welsh. It doesn't say that I'm Welsh, so the person must have known who I am. I was so chuffed. It's like, I know it's a minor thing to be chuffed about, but to have that, it was like, ooh, I'm so happy. So it made me feel a little bit better about myself, but I forgot about it until I just remembered it. So it obviously didn't make me feel that much better, because I am still thinking, oh no, what a life of tortured brilliance I have. No, I didn't think that. What a quiet desperation. That's the words, isn't it? Well done. I know. Thank you. I know you do know who Max Boyce is. I thought you didn't know who Max Boyce was. Yes, it is fairly obvious, but if you're just going on the IMDb and doing a search Welsh actors or something, it doesn't say that I'm Welsh on there at all. And yet I was still put on this user-generated list. I don't know who this person is, that I didn't follow the link to see who it was. I was just chuffed enough to be on it, and that was enough for me. I was so happy. I don't even know what my IMDb ranking is anymore, because I have not paid for a professional IMDb, because if you pay for it, then you get to put a picture up, and you get to like have professional things. And I don't know, I think in America it's worth having it, because you can put your picture up, and you can't put a picture up unless you subscribe to it and keep on subscribing to it, which is like, not sure about that. So there's loads of people that don't have any picture at all, because why should I have to pay for the IMDb? Why? But I am on it, which is good enough. There's a few things on it. It's a list. And yeah, and I've been in things with people and stuff. And people are just things. Yeah, people that I've been in things with have been in things. Probably. You know, I got really excited. IMDb was made in UK. It might be, but in America, if you've got like lists to jobs and things. So if you're in America and you're a member, then you get inside information about who's casting and stuff. But if you're in the UK, the inside information about I mean, I suppose you could still do video auditions and things like screen tests. That's not what they're called. Self-tapes and stuff. You could do that, but I mean, you know, is it worth it really? Am I actually going to get onto a Hollywood blockbuster? I mean, you know, saying that though, you know, there are people I know that are in big things. People that I've trained with or been in things are way bigger than me. I was thinking everybody that I've ever been doing any sort of drama course with or been in some sort of professional capacity with have got much bigger than me. So everyone else is more famous than me, but that in a sort of vicarious way makes me go, oh well, look at me. I was near these people. Like Aisling B was like emceeing something that I was in. And also Robin Ince was on the same bill, and also Ellis James, that's his name. Ellis James, I think that's his name, was also on the bill, and he's on the Welsh list as well. He's on the Welsh list, lower than me, but he's also got a picture. So I'm thinking that his agent or him or somebody must actually be paying for the IMDb professional list, because there is a picture of him, but he's still lower down. Shirley Bassey's also got a picture, but Max Boyce and Derek Brockway do not have pictures of themselves. They obviously didn't think it was worth it. Just relax. Not everybody does, you know. But if you pay for it, then you will get a picture. I got almost really excited because a friend of mine called Sean Carlson. I watched an episode. I've been watching Doctor Who from the beginning, and I know that he's in that. And he's in the first series. He's a policeman who's like very worried when people go to the roofs because the aliens. It's a Christmas episode because the aliens have programmed people with A positive blood to go on the roof, and he's a policeman in it. So I was like, hey, and I contacted him and said, hey, I've just seen that, and he's like, oh, that's a long time ago. And I thought his name came a Marvel thing this week. I was watching the Christmas special of Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was sort of half looking, and I thought I saw his name, and I was like, oh, that's exciting, because Kevin Bacon's in that, and that really, if he is in that, ups my whole Kevin Bacon score by no end, but it wasn't him. So I don't know what my Kevin Bacon score is anymore. I think maybe if you've got a professional IMDb account, you can check. But otherwise, I'm not sure. There used to be that there was a place you could go that looked at Wikipedia and did it based on Wikipedia. But I don't have a Wikipedia page anymore. I did have a Wikipedia page, but you know that if you know me from way back, you know that I don't have it now, and that somebody went out of their way to make sure that I never got one again. And it was very upsetting, but I nearly had. Anyway, I can't look at my Kevin Bacon score anymore because I don't have a Wikipedia page. But I do have a BFI page, an IMDb page, and an Apple TV page that's got somebody else that's not me on it. So that's something, I suppose. But I'm on things. Some places. So maybe my life hasn't been completely worthless, just mostly worthless. Yes, exactly. Bacon, yum, yum, yum. I made pork. Talking of which, I made vegan bacon this week, and I put it on TikTok, and maybe it was too long to go on YouTube Shorts, but you can go and look for it. It's like it was made with tempeh. It's nice, and I made it, and it was quite lovely. Yes, exactly. I should do that. Yes, I should do that. I should do that. It's boheme. That's very good advice. I should network and find my next job. But do you know how I usually... Yes, it was Kevin Bacon, not Francis Bacon. I know my Francis Bacon score might be way high. Do I know anybody that... No. Well, my dad went to art college with somebody famous that was in a picture with Joe Wharton or something. And he probably knew Francis Bacon. No, we didn't. He knew Francis Bacon. Are you talking about Francis Bacon? No, I'm talking about... I'm getting Francis Bacon very much confused with the other Bacon. Anyway, Bacon. Lucian Freud. There's no bacon in that name at all. No, I don't know what I'm thinking about. You're probably exactly. It's who knows. And also, I've done loads and loads of genealogy. And I way back, if you keep going far enough, every single person in the world that's got any sort of European ancestry at all, even only one person in your whole European ancestry, you might never have set foot here, but if you've got one European person, then you will almost certainly be related to kings and queens of Europe, because there's basically only about 1 million people in Britain in like 1060. So if you've got any ancestors that were here in 1060, then you're related to royalty. So I'm probably related in some distant way to all of these people. At one point, I linked myself back on one line to, because Ancestry used to have a thing that it said that you were related to certain people based on what it found in the family tree that you had, and it would make all sorts of links and go, you're related to these people. And it turned out most of the time I wasn't related to those people, because it just got loads of other people's family trees and just made rubbish up. Like, it kept trying to make me link to Winston Churchill, even though I kept taking away the people that it thought were in the tree. It's like, they definitely aren't in my tree, take them out. You're still saying that I'm related to Winston Churchill. I'm really not. Anyway, loads of people. But there was a particular person that was like the last religious martyr in Britain that was burned at the stake or something. And then it was like, oh, that's interesting. Not great, but I then took that whole line out, because I couldn't really, because it was on the Roden line, and I couldn't find this, like, a great-great-grandfather. I couldn't actually find any birth records of my great-great-grandfather, so I've got absolutely no idea where he's from. Same on the other side. Daniel Jacob, who was born either, this is it, get this, 1806, 1811, or 1808, I think. Anyway, 3 completely different times and dates of birth. And yet, when I look back at records of the period, he doesn't seem to actually appear in any sort of record until 1836, I think, when he got married as Dan Jacob. Now, I'm thinking maybe that wasn't his name at all, that he had a completely different name, because I can't find any record of him before that. So there's like 30 years of his life that are just like, so, and also the Rodens. He was obviously illegitimate, the Roden, because I can't find any record of him, and he got baptized, but he didn't get baptized until he was a grown-up adult person. And the people that he said were his parents in the adult baptism in Wales, the people that he said were his parents don't exist, as far as somebody called Edmund Roden, who does not exist anywhere that I can find. So he was making things up. So I could be related to everybody, because who even knows where they came from? Could be coming from anywhere. You know, on my mum's side as well, there's somebody called John Morris who definitely was born out of wedlock. So his mother was called Morris. His father was called Price. Now, Price is a very common name. It says in parish records, his Price is a very common name. So who even knows who he was? This reminds me of the Wednesday. I've been watching that. I'm not sure about that because, as everyone says, it's not really I'm enjoying it, but it's not the Addams Family from olden days. It's like the Addams. It's weird. It's strange, like not weird in a good way. It's like some sort of. I imagine it's like Riverdale. I haven't watched Riverdale. But it's like sort of Harry Potter light, only without the bigotry and the nastiness. And it's also, so it's better than Harry Potter, let's be honest. And it's also a little bit like, it's just too American high school for me, really. But, you know, it's good as long as you don't think it's the Addams Family. The point that I'm making here is one of her ancestors, called Goody Adams, is on her dad's side and is called Adams. So clearly Goody Adams must have had a child and called it Adams, so she wasn't married to anyone at the time. So that happens. It's like, well, that's not inconsistent because that is probably something that happens. Because when you look at parish records and things in Britain, you look at it, pages, and there's a good half of them really that are not, they've got their mother's name and they might have AKA or this is the father, and it's like very harsh terms. It's not just illegitimate. They use the B word just most of the time. It's like, oh, well, that's a bit graphic and harsh. It's like, but good half of the people, I mean, they whacked it like bunny rabbits back in the day. There seemed to be very few people that were born within the confines of a marriage. So you think, oh, well, morality was different back in the day. Yes, it was, because they didn't really care about things like that. Just carried on living their life with children all over the place with the same name as their mother, which is fine, but you wouldn't think it would happen. It did happen. Bananas. Do I have a crystal ball? Yes, we are all related anyway. Is this a Shetland sweater? I don't think so. It's an artificial fibre sweater. Oh, also, at Black Friday sales this week, I got some blankets for my, wearable blankets. I was going to get one for myself, but then I realised that this blanket that I got, this Christmas blanket that I got, is so lovely and warm that I don't really need anything else. So I was like, well, nothing can measure up to this nice blanket. So I didn't, but I got some nice ones for my parents and sent them. And they got them today. I mean, they paid for it, but they got them today. It was only 20 quid for two, really. So I was like, that's good. This is an unwearable blanket, but I sent it to them and they got them. And my dad sent me a picture of it. Now, it's supposed to be that you put your hands in the front and then it's got, it's a blanket, only it's got sleeves, basically. So you imagine it, flare, and then sleeves, and it's got pocket in the front and whatever. So I thought that was fairly obvious, but then my dad sent me a picture, and he was wearing it like this. And he was like, my mum said he looks like Matt Hancock, who's in the jungle at the moment, who my dad on the video call earlier was saying looks like a big baby. He looks like the baby at Close Encounters of the Third Kind, is what my dad said. He was very vehement about that. But my dad was wearing it like a sort of hood, and he was looking very, very strange indeed in it. I was like, it's on backwards. And he was like, oh, what's this stupid rubbish blanket or whatever? I'm like, put it on the right way. So he put it on the right way, and I think they're warming to them. The blankets are warm, so maybe they'll enjoy these blankets now that they're wearing them in the right way. But they got very angry at me for sending them useless things. They weren't useless, they were all 5-star. They were good blankets, and I was like, I was going to order one for myself, but then I didn't. I'm grateful, but they were paying for them themselves, so it was whatever. Anyway, it doesn't fall off. Yeah, exactly, they don't fall off. And they've got a little pocket, like a little wallaby pocket here for a remote control. Or one of them has, the other one hasn't. My mum's is sort of velvet, grey velvet, and my dad's is sort of tartan or plaid. And but my dad was wearing the grey one first because my mum thought that the tartan one was a better quality and she was going to keep it for herself. It's like, that's not the way around I want you to have them. and I made them try them on the video chat so that they got them right. Anyway, I think it's all good now. So I have done things this week. Probably nothing of any purpose or note, but I got a tiny little bit of an ego boost by somebody put me on their list. Lists they're not necessarily good, but this list felt good. Who gave you the blue blanket? It was a Christmas present. So anyway, I am going now. I will see you next week. Have a lovely time, and it was exactly like a hospital gown only for cold weather, and that's what my dad was like, I don't want that, because he's going to have to actually maybe go to hospital soon, and he's like, don't remind me, but it's like, it's a blanket, don't say that. Anyway,